Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
When
afternoon.
you when you travel by air, flight attendant instructs you to place the oxygen mask on yourself before assisting your children. The reason, of course, is that you can't do a very good job if you don't take care of yourself first. Safety first of oneself, particularly in challenging situations. This becomes absolutely vital. Teaching is just like that. You need to be fit and make your surroundings fit and safe. I am delighted to welcome you all to yet another new episode of Futuristic Education, a web series dedicated to education of 21st century, an Edudev initiative with association with Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham to enlighten and empower the education community in the education trends for the future. These are a city-based web series where we invite edu leaders, heads, principals, educators to become our panelists from a particular city. I am your host and moderator for the day, Devyani Kapoor. Welcome you all. Now, without much ado, let me quickly introduce you to our esteemed panel for today. We have with us Ms. Vishnu Priya Srinivasan, Faculty Associate from Amrita Darshanam International Center for Spiritual Studies. Let us welcome Ms. Sunita Bhatnagar, Principal, Born and Public School, Muradabad. We also have from Muradabad Dr. Swati Sharma, Principal, Springfield College. I welcome all of you on behalf of Edudevs and Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. You see, teaching is a selfless profession. Most educators would probably say, if they are asked, that we are driven by the desire to help and inspire students. Many a times, educators sacrifice their own well being to support students' social, emotional, and academic needs. As we educators, we've all experienced this. This is not something that I'm telling you. We all walk that extra mile. Now, teacher wellness influences schools' culture and climate. Its instruction, it affects students' academic, personal, and emotional development. It also affects the stability of the workforce, and mind you, it also arrests the attrition rate, which has become such a pain to the managements and the principals. If I look at it, teachers' emotions and stress levels have been found to influence all these aspects. In fact, in COVID-19 pandemic, we saw that teachers were hard hit by trying to get onto and make themselves aware of the technology. Nearly 1 in 4 teachers indicated a burnout. They were making themselves conversant with technology. They were trying to juggle to recreate the technology friendly lesson plans, so on and so forth. The result was burnout and stress. When we talk about wellness programs, we see that till date, we'd only been hearing about corporates having these wellness programs integrated for their employees. So the health checkups, the yoga classes, giving them space to go to gym, providing them even retreats. This was never a phenomena and never known to teaching as a community. Let us discuss this important aspect of creating healthy school culture with our esteemed panel in today's discussion on integrating wellness program for educators. I will begin by asking one common question to all my panelists. I would go by first by Ms. Sunita Bhatnagar, then Dr. Swati Sharma, followed by Ms. Vishnupriya. And I would request you to kindly adhere to 2 minutes as there is a lot in store today. We've seen that teachers and staff members are always on the front lines of the daily school life. Teachers from creating lesson plans to assessing the grades, to trying to complete the syllabus, to tending to students' social, emotional needs. These caring adults who are in our classrooms are juggling immense workloads. And in pandemic, this had gone to another level. As they say, you can't pour from an empty cup, or as I gave the example in the beginning, put on your oxygen masks first. My question to you, dear panelists, is how can schools support educators in maintaining the wellness balance? Yes, Ms. Sunita Bhatnagar.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. First of all, the word wellness itself has to be understood, what I feel. It is not just the physical health. It is related with a lot more, because educator is not just an educator. He's also a human being. And of course, he has a family to support. He's coming from a certain part of the society where he has his own obligations and his responsibilities. And to balance out the workplace and the family and the society is not easy for anyone. All of us are a part of a certain society. So the school has its own role when the educators are coming from a particular organization. Then, of course, that bonding and responsibility is on the shoulders of the organizers, the whole of the organization too. And this way, the school has to play a vital role in keeping the educator well in his health, both mental and physical, even emotional and spiritual. I must say spiritual also, because it is not just the physical health, that is what we see. It is the mental health, and there can be so many reasons that can be disturbing out this mental peace of the educator. There is a lot at school, variety of work. Then, as like ma'am just said, during the pandemic, we had to be changing over our modes so many times, sometimes blended teaching, sometimes online, offline. So with every change comes a disturbance. And to adjust in that, the school had to be holding hands with the educator. Now, at such a time, it becomes the foremost duty, first of all, to make the educator comfortable. In whatever mode, in whatever condition the work is going on, the educator has to be comfortable, and whatever facilities can be made available should be provided in the foremost front for the educator. That cannot be just expected that, okay, the educator himself will be able to, the teacher himself will be able to arrange it out. We have to be giving out that support. Like I think the time that we have just experienced in these 2 years, that had been the most tough part of the life, what I have felt in my experience of all these years. And during this time, the management beautifully came forward and they provided out all the paraphernalia, all the facilities that could be provided because it was so sudden that if they had not been supporting out, I think it would have been quite difficult. Again, when the management is coming forward, along with them, there are certain other people who are needed at such a time, because it is again not just the material things which are needed. There has to be the economical support also that is needed to the educator. Then we need some motivators, because so many had to face so much in their families. So many other kind of disasters had been there, that they did need the motivators, they did need the influencers and the psychologists. So at some or the other level, we were all in need of certain people who could come forward to help out. So the school had to play this role by providing all these, because alone and one educator cannot be running from post to pillar and looking for different people according to his requirements and needs. So the school, if could be providing out all these things at the same place as in the school itself, it would have been much more easier. Now, this could be the facilities in the school itself, the gym or the yoga or the meditation room, whatever the physical exercise or something or the other that could be there. Then the free checkups could be provided, or the medical aid could be provided. This could be of great help for the educator, because that saves the time as well as money for him.
Thank you so much.
Yes, one more thing. That is just, I mean, something to keep him preoccupied with other things also. Like he could be given some time to relax, and there could be some time to move into enjoyment and entertainment too, which is generally ignored out. Exactly. So all these things could be done by the school, I feel.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Unita. This is really insightful and very rightly said that it's not just about physical, mental, and I really liked the spiritual aspect which you added, that, you know, when we are talking holistic development of the child, we need to ensure a holistic empowerment of our educators. And, you know, schools have to do those small little things to ensure the well-being of the educators. Thank you so much. Moving on to Dr. Swati, what is your understanding that as a principal, you know, I'm sure, because when we talk about educators, and I'm talking about the principals as well, because their stress is manifold and their the job is so demanding. But then you are the management representatives of them. So what are those 4-5 things which you'll suggest should be, you know, something doable and handy? Yes. Yes, Dr. Swati. You're muted. You're muted.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for raising such a pertinent issue in today's time. Stress, yes, if we talk for past 2 years, stress on the education field, it has been, I must say, second to the medical field. If it has been the foremost, the front line, if we call for, were the doctors, then obviously the teachers were also struggling. And when we talk of stress, self-care, ma'am, I feel it is not a prominent part of our culture. We don't talk about it. Wellness, whether it is mental, physical, people are still getting habitual. But when we talk of mental wellness, we in our society it is still considered as a taboo. People don't want to talk about it. They feel shy in sharing in case a person is under stress. They don't want that people should be talking openly for that. And we have been taught with the same thing. But we should also know this thing that right from the time of birth till the last breath that we take, we have stress in almost all stages of life, all stages. Nowadays, parents' concern is for the students' stress they are passing through. We at our stage, at the position we are holding, We have our own level of stress. So stress is something which we cannot ignore. And it has been broadly incorporated in the heading or the category of wellness. So I would be more speaking of mental wellness. Like Ms. Sunita ma'am already said that people are not talking about the mental well-being of a child or of adults or of anyone. Now, as educators, as the topic restricts us, no doubt, we had immense pressure when this transition has to take place. So many things were there, how to cope up, things were not in our hand. And everywhere, people were thinking, will education come to a cease? Will it come to a halt? But there, this stress only somewhere people were struggling, trying to find out a solution to this. What we call eustress. It is a positive stress that we have taken. We have tried to find ways for the mental wellness of the teachers, of the students, as well as all the people who were directly or indirectly related to it. Now, when we discuss about that how or what kind of programs for educators should be there, we have to find out the reason. What is troubling us? What is that is hampering the wellness of educators, its teachers, it's in the management side, or at whatever broad way we can take it. Now, wellness also is there. Physical, it could be mental, it could be spiritual and emotional. So the first thing I would, like you just pointed me that I should stick to the doers. What could be the handy things we can stick to? So first of all, I think we should see that stress or mental wellness is disturbed at the time when pressure is more than the resources. So last 2 years, as we are talking, they were very stressful. Yes, because the resources were less. The students were not with us. How to go ahead with the task in hand? So we have to find it out that how or what is troubling us. If stress is affecting us physically, definitely we have seen medically that how it leads to high BP and whatnot, stroke and this and that. God forbid that no one should have it, but still. So for in that case, for physical well-being, we have to identify. Teachers, if we talk of, we are very good at giving lectures to others, all right, doing this and doing that, but most of the time I found that our teachers themselves are neglecting, educators themselves are neglecting their health. So first is this. And coming to health only, we talk of a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. If our mental health is physically we are fine, then somewhere it is making us mentally strong also, right? So the teachers as an educators, we have to see that teachers shall also be encouraged to engage themselves in various physical activities. It could be anything. Sunita ma'am has already said whether it is yoga, meditation, whatever. But not only saying, we should understand the essence of it. If we are going to follow it, then definitely as an educators, we are going to pass the same thing to the generation we are having in hand, to the future generation. Maybe if they are knowing how to handle this or to worry about their well-being, they will be at least a better and a healthy future as we are facing today. So this teachers being exemplary, they have to be exemplary in their behavior. We should find it out. This is about physical, then it is mental. Mental again, we should see what gives us happiness. When we are unhappy, definitely we are disturbed, we are dissatisfied. What is the origin of that? Why are we dissatisfied? What prevents us? We have to, I can call it as the ABC, right? What does it mean? A means being aware. We have to be aware of ourselves. What is troubling us? What is that which is creating some kind of burden in our mind, which is preventing us from being happy, which is disturbing a lot. Then B is obviously balance. We have to keep a balance between our mental satisfaction, the job in hand, the task we have to take. So this balance also we need to develop the habit of maintaining. And C is obviously control. Control what all factors are affecting us, identifying them, accepting the fact that yes, we need some assistance. Then at the other level, I feel schools now, educators at school management level, what can we do? We all can make it out that if a teacher is passing some difficult time, what difficult situation the teacher is passing through, we must offer a helping hand. That would not only be an emotional support, but that spirit of positivity is to be inculcated, is to be infused in that person. And question comes why we need to do it. The question comes here, if a teacher is himself or herself distressed, is dissatisfied, is not keeping mental well-being good, then obviously no conducive learning is going to take place in the class. And
thank you so much, ma'am, because this round is just 2 minutes and the same
sure.
question.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, because we will be coming back to it. Thank you so much. I will move on to, but Ms. Vishnu, panelists, I would request you to please adhere to the time. Otherwise, we'll not be able to take up more questions. So I move on to Ms. Vishnu Priya, and I would not want you to repeat anything, but give us the spiritual perspective, because I just saw that your area of specialization happens to be that. So what is it? Very briefly, like a pointer, a kind of a to-do thing.
Yeah, don't worry, ma'am. I'm not going to take a lot of time. So I would say that the institution should have a value such as this, rather than prioritizing the duties of the employee. When is a teacher stressed? When he is compelled to do a duty for some kind of a benefit that he is getting from an institution, such as a school or a college. It could apply to any institution. But instead, if the institution is going to have a value which is going to instill a sense of responsibility along with a sense of belongingness to the teacher, where the teacher will feel a sense of belongingness to the institution like he feels for his own family. Okay, so the responsibility naturally comes and the pressure part goes away. There is no pressure that he has to do something for the institution, but he's going to do it out of his own will. This is the ultimate spiritual way. So that is what all our texts focus on, because especially if you take the Indian traditional text, it is oriented towards giving a sense of responsibility to the seeker and filling in him a sense of belongingness towards the subject he is seeking, rather than compelling him with the duty, and if you do this, you will get this benefit. Rather than this, what you do is, I am seeking something, so I have to be responsible for that. So if the institution is going to prioritize that, I think all the mental stress that was spoken about earlier, I think that would gradually reduce, because there is no compulsion from the institutional side. So I think that is all. That is for the first round. That is what I would like to convey for now.
Thank you so much, and I will thank you so much, because there's so much more. So you said very rightly that you have to bring them to a point where, what I understood was, where they do whatever they are doing out of passion, out of will. The moment something is thrust upon them, it loses that, the passion goes off. And so it becomes a hard task. And
it becomes a task, and it is a duty that I have to do. Otherwise, my family will suffer and other things are going to suffer. So I'm going to suffer, basically. So if this pressure is taken off, that you're not going to suffer, don't worry. This is your family.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
This is your place. So you do what you feel right. then a person is
Right.
more. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So when such an environment is provided, I think he will do more than what he's expected to deliver. It's going to be
Yes.
the deliverables are actually going to shoot up, but you just don't have to ask for the deliverable. That is the trick there.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, my next question is to Ms. Sunita Bhatnagar. Ma'am, both you and Dr. Swati were talking about, and you were giving us such wonderful, ideas about that there should be yoga classes, the stress should not be there, the teachers need to remain positive, and they need to, it's all about not about their physical, but also about emotional and mental. That is the complete, and spiritual is complete definition of well-being. But the statistics tell us that 40% of the teachers suffer from burnout. Another 40% leave the profession even before the completion of 5 years of their career. So now, these teachers, the reality is that no matter how much we say that, it is all about work-life balance, and this job is about a half day's job, but the reality is it's extremely challenging. The teachers have to, in a day, making hundreds of decisions, which happens every day. And those decisions are then and there. And apart from the n number of duties and the n number of tasks which these teachers, perform in one day, from helping in annual days to the academic chores, to sometimes they become mentors handling the behavioral problems of the students and so on. Add to that busy physical nature of the job, where it can be tough to keep up with just keeping yourself hydrated. We are always on, but there's, of course, there's a silver lining to it. They all say that, it's the passion-driven profession. Now,
Right.
to you, my question is, how do edu leaders like principals and management create a system that recognizes teacher burnout and devises ways to stop these tracks? But you will not have to tell me anything theoretical. You'll have to tell me, okay, these are the 4-5 things which, if principals and management do, and when you say yoga and other things, then you'll have to tell me कि वो structure में कहाँ डालना है. That is very important, because we all know meditation, being positive, yoga, everybody knows.
Right.
You tell us exactly, ma'am, ke kahan pe, where can we put it in the structure?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. See, a proper plan has to be prepared out, and that is the most important part. If the planning is made well, then the rest of the work becomes easier. But if something goes wrong with the plan itself, then everything will be shattered, and definitely problems do pop up. So
Yes.
while planning out the day plans or the weekly plans, biannually, annual plans, those are the areas when we have to be keeping in mind what is expected in the coming time. Because now, of course, this pandemic leave apart, but other than that, also we know that unexpected activities or certain other happenings, all those keep coming up in between. But still, whatever is the original plan, in that we have to keep, like for the students, we do keep a period for games, we do keep a period for drama or art. So in the same manner, somewhere or the other, what I feel, it should be for the teachers too. It is not that all the 7 periods or the 8 periods the teacher can go on speaking and speaking. There has to be a little relief, say after 2 periods, there has to be a period where maybe a teacher can be a little relaxed. It can be maybe the correction work that a teacher can take up, or can go and relax himself with maybe in the ground with the students, and that gives them a little more energy, or diverting the mind. Maybe the 2 period fatigue goes away in that. or in the staff room, maybe certain more facilities should be given, which may not be given by all the institutions. That depends upon the management too. But yes, if we come up to the present time levels of stress rising up, then all these things are needed. So whatever are needed during those 5 to 6 hours of work, a teacher will be needing certain requirements which have to be fulfilled. Then other than that, in the timetable, we have to keep the scope that, okay, in the time of emergency, suppose the teacher has to be leaving all of a sudden, then what can be the other alternatives for that? Maybe we are going on overloading a teacher that every time, okay, the same teacher is given out the substitute period. That should not be, of course, that will not be justified. So already there should be some teachers kept in mind that, okay, today in the timetable, these are the teachers. A kind of a roster has to be kept up so that everybody gets a chance to replace a teacher who has to be maybe leaving for whatever. There can be some sudden activity where the teacher can be involved. So these kind of areas will, these kind of plannings in the basic timetable can help out, which we prepare for the teachers. Other than that, there should be like maybe when the very tight period is there, like the exams have been conducted, after that, again, maybe there is a need to give some kind of relaxation, and that can be in a kind of a vacation, or it can be some kind of a trip that can be arranged out at least once in a year. That can be good enough for everyone to relax and to get away, drive away from that same kind of routine, which becomes too monotonous for everyone. So something different, or maybe just going for a movie together. These kind of light things generally are not happening. I remember when we were students, we used to have such occasions that students used to enjoy the trips with the teachers. And everybody used to get to know also each other in a better way. It's not that we are wasting time in that, but we are getting to know each other in a much better manner. And those are the light moments when a lot of things we get to know. All about the teachers, little bit about the family. Otherwise, in this daily routine, it is just the work, 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 and nothing else. We are not even
Ma'am,
able
how
to
many?
talk about anything.
So, what are those 3 things that you do in your, school? Maybe before pandemic, last 2.5 days, years have been very challenging for each one of us. But prior to that,
Right.
what were those probably 2, 3 things which you did in your school? We would like to hear that, where you could bring, or was that even identified, that bringing that stress level down of the
The very
educator?
first
Ji.
thing is that I believe in talking face to face, individually, to a teacher whenever it is possible. It can be sometimes during the daily routine also, or after the school, because there are times when we know the person is in trouble, but we get so much engrossed that we don't get that face-to-face talk with the person. So for that, some time can be kept apart in which we can have a face-to-face talk, and just talking it over to the teacher, I think makes a person quite relaxed about whatever has been faced by the teacher at home or at school. So those light moments I do try here and there, that I try to have with the teachers. Another can be the group meetings in which the problems which the teachers are facing can be talked over. So individually also I feel it is necessary, because sometimes some don't want to talk with everybody else present. And in the group, it is number of ideas coming up, and a problem that may be concerning one person can be solved out more smoothly, because different people may give out different options. And other
Very
than
right,
that
very
is, so
right.
these two I try to involve in the daily routine itself. Other than that, once in a while before pandemic, yes, once in a year, I always planned out a trip in which we could include out the teachers also coming along. And that was a time when really we got to know them much more than what we knew. A very quiet kind of a teacher who would never speak out about her own self. She would be so much free in that atmosphere, so that what congenial environment we are providing out, in that sometimes things become better to solve out or to think in a better way for each other.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think very rightly pointed out by Dr. Mrs. Sunita Bhatnagar, I feel first thing is planning. Planning both on the part of the management to plan not an over ambitious calendar, to planning on the part of the educators is also important. How do you use your free periods? That is also important, so that you judiciously use your staff room free time in working, and then also some kind of indulging in inconsequential conversations. Ms. Sunita suggested many things: group discussions, group meetings, and one-on-one meeting becomes extremely important for principals to call there and just try and ask them, is everything okay? Are you facing any problem? And finally, also I would like to add here that a very nice idea with Sunita ji also said that I used to take my teachers to retreat, to 1 day outings or 2 days outings. When I was an educator, so in one of my schools, we used to have the concept of annual retreat. That was like a 3 days conducted, of course, program, which was a very, very happy blend of excursion, readings, which would evolve us, along with a lot of playful activities ranging from indakshini to dance to anything. So it was a very, very holistic package. And I would like to recommend all the managements and principals to curate, maybe in the post pandemic times when the normalcy returns, to curate certain programs where the teachers are out and they are not restricted in that space of red brick walls. All right, my next question is to Ms. Vishnupriya. Tell me that, mindfulness training or yoga classes are likely to be most effective, for educators. How do, or probably, that kind of activities which would engage the staff in a space which is stress-free environment. So how do you think education could plan, and managements or probably policymakers could plan programs that would empower the educators, alongside they will make them, obviously if they're empowered, as you said, and they'll also get that sufficient time to complete their assignments. So essentially, how would that work-life balance? Here, when I say life, I mean empowering them with those skills, that the work will never reduce, we know that. But how we need to, fight that thing out. Yes, Ms. Vishnupriya. Yes, Ms. Vishnupriya. I think we have lost the connection. No, she's there.
I'm so sorry. There was some glitch from my end. Am I audible now?
Yes. Yes, you are. Now you're not. I think there is some problem. We will come back to Ms. Vishnupriya again. And Ms. Vishnupriya, you're back again. Yes. You can start.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes. Please.
Okay. Yeah. So as you had asked, I see for that, I think that every institution must have a yoga teacher and a counselor who can help the teacher or the student at a time when they are distressed, which is not, and they are not very, as Swati ma'am was saying, it is not quite common in India to be freely talk about your own mental problems and so on. So if the institution facilitates by having a counselor and a yoga master or a yoga teacher to whom these people can have access to at any time, and it must it must be provided in a very free environment where it is possible for stressed out teachers to have an access to these people who can provide proper guidance to them, because a trained yoga master would have a lot of experience. Okay, so he would see, so it is not just in theory like how we know yoga to be. So yoga is very theoretical for us. We think that sometime when we do yoga something will change, but a yoga master is not like that. A yoga master experientially knows what happens when you do yoga. So when such an experienced person is available on the campus for interaction, I think that would make a lot of difference, and it could inspire people to take it up regularly rather than providing a theoretical background. If you have a person in-house, that would help, is what I think. So I think that educational institutions must definitely consider having an in-house yoga instructor and a counselor who can connect with the experiences of the teachers and provide them proper guidance. So
very right that this has to be a regular regime, and that proper guidance and proper care, and it has to be not once probably in a month or something. It should be structured. That is the whole idea, that even if there could be a yoga instructor on campus, or maybe the yoga teachers could also take up these morning exercises, stretching or something, some kind of regime, because I'm sure the teachers, when at the moment, let's look at the post-pandemic times, and now that the schools are gradually opening, I'm sure they don't get that time because they have to punch in by 7:30 or 7:45, and it becomes very difficult that they have to pack the tiffins of their whole family. They have to get dressed themselves, leave the house well in time, and reach to their classes. So at home in the morning, it might be a little difficult. Thank you so much, Ms. Vishnupriya. Coming to me, Dr. Swati. Now, as we are just discussing that wellness programs are different from, just health promotion and losing weight or other things. It is like you have to consider and change your whole lifestyle, where you talk about physical, emotional, your happiness quotient, your attitude, everything contributes, your intellectual environment. And so what are the benefits of promoting balanced health and wellness programs for teachers at school? Could there be such programs which can outsourced for the teachers? And how can we do it in a cost-effective way? If you could just explain us any model which schools could pick up and work towards the wellness program. And when I say wellness, I also want you to talk about the mental well-being of the teacher, which becomes so important because teachers are dealing with hundreds of nascent minds, which are very, very impressionable. So their mental well-being is most important. Yes, Dr. Swati.
Yes, ma'am. As you have said that what all ways we can take to help our teachers, educators for the well-being of our children, of our teachers. Ma'am, you just said that morning time or teachers are not able to give time to themselves. First of all, we have to accept this thing. We have to take out the time for self-care. Self-care is very, very, very important. It could be all right, morning hours might not suit to a person, but then definitely evening hours. But realization of that is important. Whether it is yoga, whether it is physical exercise, we are not talking of being physically fit. These are actually the ways of generating positivity in you. So if that positivity is in an educator, then obviously those positive vibes are passed in the classrooms also. What you are talking about, that yes, the children are having with impressionable mind at young age, they are here. Now a teacher who is going in the class herself is dull, lethargic, tired, whatever it could be any reason behind that. Then obviously you can't, bring that spirit, that spark in the class, even while delivering the lecture also. So this thing we also have to understand. Now the question comes here that as the principals or the management, what we should do here. What I love about being associated with the field of education is this, ma'am. We can live our childhood once again. Passion for our profession. We have to understand that if we are into this profession by choice or by chance, whatever it is, but now we should start adapting ourselves to what we are here. The burnout of the teachers, it is because maybe they are dissatisfied at times, they want to withdraw. So if they are into this profession, they should fully accept that here. And now what else can be done? Ma'am has already said that counselor. Now counselor also, in staffs we have seen that generally they are there part of staff only. So people are not that much comfortable discussing their problems with the counselor. So the first thing which I would like that all all management people should ensure is that they should keep themselves available and approachable to the staff. If they are ready to listen to them, whatever it is, the trust has to be built up so that they can come, they can share the problem, and definitely their problems are heard. Some solution is being provided to the problems, then definitely they would feel satisfied. The mental satisfaction, this feeling is also to be generated that all right, you had a problem, we are there to look after you, take care of you. So this message is to be conveyed. Plus what we can do is here that appreciation, right? Small gesture of appreciating little work. It is not that it has to be monetary every time there. It could be in the form of a letter also. It could be in a form of a certificate also. Anything. So these on regular basis, if that way we are encouraging, because this brings happiness, and happiness definitely makes us to do some positive things, feel good. That should be done. Sunita ma'am has already spoken about that time to time certain things, or you also said here that annual retreat should be done. So those are definitely very good things. We also keep on organizing pool lunch, pool dinner, infused with cultural exchange of certain programs and all. So that platform is being given here. I think that all these aspects, one more thing I would like to add before winding up the things here. Ma'am, I think that in school, teachers should be encouraged to mix with each other. If they can find a cushion, through someone, exchange of their problems, most of the teachers are passing through the same problems. The students are same. So in case they can exchange their problems, some of them themselves would be giving solution to them. And then in case we have where professional, some suggestion is required, so many workshops, so many programs are there where teachers can definitely attend them and improve their performance, which adds to their problems in their day-to-day.
Thank you so much. I think they're nice, small solutions, very practical, which you gave, that letter of appreciation, some kind of encouragement, some not necessarily monetary, but encourage them to undertake a course in something which that is their strength. Giving them some certificates, taking them out, and as ma'am said, lunches and dinners, these staff lunches and dinners always help. They are great stress busters where you can vent out. Thank you so much, Ms. Swati. This was really nice. And now my next question is to Vishnu Priya, Ms. Vishnu Priya. I would like to ask you that now you would have also done researches on pandemic. Now the researchers are still emerging. What has been how pandemic has impacted the education in terms of, because lots of research is going on, how teachers who were devoid of using technology, most of them in their classrooms, and they were still following a very, very traditional pattern. Overnight and days, they equipped themselves so beautifully, and they were completely on an online technology integrated model, and it wasn't very easy for them to do that. However, we have some kind of research which shows that among teachers who have left the profession voluntarily since March 2020, 44% did so primarily because of the stress during the pandemic. They couldn't handle so much of overwork that they were doing. The most common reasons were these, as I just mentioned. Just 10% of educators identified ensuring my own well-being as a top priority in pre-COVID. Most of the, in the current academic year, over 29% of the teachers responded that well-being is a priority, trailing only ensuring student safety. Now, could you suggest some 4 points of self-care? You were talking about self-care and wellness. So how can, like, you'll have to give us a step-by-step roadmap when it comes to self-care, what the teacher can do in the morning, how can she can create that stress-free zone during the school timings, and then when she comes back. So yes, Miss Vishnupriya.
I am so sorry, ma'am. I did not get your question because I got logged off. So I think I can come, maybe you can finish this round and maybe I can answer the question at the end of the round.
Okay, would anybody else would want, because we are anyways running very short of time, would Miss Swati or Sunita like to, because Miss Sunita was talking about, both Dr. Swati and Miss Sunita were talking about, that it's important. They were giving generalized, many generalized, options that they gave to the educators. But how should an educator's day be structured? And how can the much talked about self-care and wellness practice educators can imbibe when there is a stress of assessments, then making question papers, lesson planning, when there is the stress that parents do walk into that online virtual platforms, then what is the kind of suggestions? How can a teacher's day be structured? Ms. Sunita, could you talk about this?
Yeah, I would like to say that again, I come back to planning. That is, it is not that once a plan is made, it is going to be permanent or fixed. Again, we have to be a little bit flexible about it. It can't be done rigidly. And again, we have to understand that every individual is different. And sometimes we do have to mold our planning according to the requirement of the teacher. It has to be, tailor cut lesson planning. And it cannot be fixed that one rigid style can be given out and it remains same for everybody. No, it has to be done differently according to sometimes the requirement. Like during the pandemic, when the staff, some of the members of the staff, they had been suffering with corona. They were in a condition that we could not expect they could be following that timetable strictly. If out of say 4 periods, if they could be giving time say for one, or switching over to some writing assignments, that could be encouraged, I think, so that we could be, the teacher also would feel wanted and will feel that, okay, a little support will encourage to carry on with the work. Otherwise, maybe becoming disheartened or a little bit into depression, that would have totally killed, I suppose, that educator. So from the teacher's end, what the requirements are there, those also have to be kept in mind. So this is what had been one of my experience, that few of the teachers who had been themselves suffering. So of course they had to be away. But during that time also, if we kept on keeping them engaged in some way or the other, they felt all the time wanted, and that morale could be made better for them. And I felt that that was a good step, because slowly and steadily they did take time, but they did not forget that, yes, they will get back to work. And beautifully, they were able to get over that period, and they were able to join back in a very nice way. And of course, the things came back to normalcy. Otherwise, I will
Right,
suggest
right.
that for everyone, that right from the morning, there should be some hours that a person should be able to little bit meditate, if not at home, then in school, like not during the pandemic time, because assemblies and all were not allowed. But before that, I had made it like compulsory that during the assembly time, that sometime it should be that they should be doing some kind of physical exercise or little bit of simple yoga, that everybody of all age groups, everybody could do. That senior teachers or the young teachers, everybody could be becoming a part of that little bit of yoga that could be done, because at home, most of us, we are so much occupied with the family tie-ups and all, that it is
Yes.
not possible. So that I felt was
Hmm.
very helpful, even if it was like deep breathing, if nothing else in the open. If deep breathing also was done in the morning, say for 1 minute or 2 minutes, that was quite healthy for everyone. So these small, small
Because it's
things, I
very
think,
important. Yeah.
yes,
Because it is very important because it teaches well-being, mental, emotional, physical. It so much impacts student development because teachers are the role models. When they stand in the class, children look upon them. Also, now my question is, in fact, to both Ms. Sunita and Dr. Swati, because you are on that, you're an educator themselves, and also, as I said, part of the representatives of the management. How can community and schools cooperate in this direction? Do you think anything can be worked out, or would a mandate be required for this by the Ministry of Education to make it, like how do we assess one that impact of such superficial pieces? Like, could you think some kind of partnership between the community and the educators could lessen the burden on them?
I think that will cut on the cost, first of all, for the educators, because in some way or the other, it is a costly affair sometimes. So if the management comes forward and plays a good role in that and takes up the lion's share in that, I think things can become very easy for the staff. The teachers can be coming forward and feeling encouraged also when others are also taking part in that and accepting these kind of offers coming up. So that can be in a simple way, a regular checkup, maybe once in a month, say for simply just for BP and sugar and ECG. So if they get the opportunity at school itself through these agencies, it becomes easy for them. At least sometimes we are so worked
Mhm.
up, so occupied, that we don't realize that we are suffering with certain things. We keep on ignoring our
Mm.
health. Our own health
Right.
comes, I think, last in the list. So if such things
Absolutely.
will happen, they will be able to know what is going wrong where with them and take action. Then medical contacts can be given to them, so that things become easier
Right.
for them. So it's
Hmm.
in some way or the other, somewhere, of course, the management and school can help out. At least
Yes,
the
I
teachers
think
will
yes,
save
because
on time and
I
money.
these are very practical solutions which Ms. Sunita you've given, because there are so many. When I was going through the list of CBSE workshops and all, I think
Yes,
they were giving more stress. They were mental well-being, and mental well-being cannot, or well-being cannot be taught. I feel it can only be experienced. So
it
I
can
feel when
only
you
be
just
felt.
talk about yeah, it can only be felt. When you talk about a workshop, then I think a workshop has started becoming a stressor in the mind of an educator that no, not again. Especially, I don't want a workshop on mental well-being because I think I need that time, I need that space. So, a request to all the principals, managements, instead of pushing them into rooms and saying, okay, you take up this mental well-being workshop, create those spaces, create
Yes,
those activities where they
creating it.
actually can get creating. That I think is very important. And
But
now,
MHRD is also suggesting like things like Fit India movements and all these have come to the schools,
yes,
through which
right.
all the schools are into it, and we have to be doing the things practically. So it has nothing to do with the workshops and all, but it has to be through the activities only that we have to be coming forward.
Yes, but I really hope that now with the new education policy, they do get that time and structure. And that doesn't remain as a policy mandate because it's very important for the educators who are shaping the future of the nation, who are packing the morning breakfast of the whole nation. They need to be well, their well-being needs to be taken care by the employers, the managements, the governments. And I really hope that this is implemented. We have had a wonderful discussion on this, and I think we are running short. And we have some very good questions which are there in front of me as well, audience questions. And I always like that when audience ask questions to their, the chosen panelist, and they can always speak and interact with them. But my only request to the audience and to the panelists is please do adhere to the time. Audience, please make your questions short and crisp. Deepika ma'am, do we have any audience who want to ask questions?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Meenu Kaur, she was raising a hand earlier. Ma'am, please. Miss Meenu Kaur? Yes. Please, ma'am, please. Ask your question, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. My question is to Miss Sharma. I was listening to her, and I'm really thankful that she realizes that all the teachers are overburdened right now, and there is no such accommodation for the teachers to refresh themselves. And I think it will be a very great idea to involve some yoga or some meditation kind of things for the teachers as well. But I mean, how can this be implied practically? Can you just put on some suggestions so that I can include it in my timetable for my teachers as well?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure. See, when we are arranging the timetable, ma'am, at that time, definitely we look for certain teachers while recruiting them. We definitely look for their other areas of interest also. Because it is not easy that only 2 or 3 teachers of a particular department can be associated to take care of the entire school. So why not to utilize the teachers who are actually not professionally qualified for certain things, but they have an interest in that particular field. For example, it's possible that PGT mathematics is very good at music. So certain, maybe of senior class only, the music classes can also be given. So it's a break, an icebreaker for the teacher as well as for the students. Good interactive class, it would be there. Students will also be closer to the teacher. The teacher will also get a chance to break that monotony of teaching his or her subject. Similarly, whether it's art, any other field of interest. So exchange of subjects in the timetable of that teacher, maybe it is only 2 periods a week, because obviously we cannot take away the major subject, but that would be a relief. The teacher would be looking forward for those days when he or she is getting a chance to exhibit the other talents also, or the hobbies or the interest a teacher has it. I think I have answered your question, ma'am. Hello? Hello.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so very much. And I
Right.
think, ma'am, if we make certain clubs for the teachers as well, based on
Yeah,
their interest, I think that will reduce
definitely.
their stress a lot.
Definitely,
Should be.
definitely, ma'am.
Thank
Even
you
at
so much.
times, just one more thing, ma'am. At times, it could be during their, the other periods. Some common games can be arranged for the teacher and the student. When we are talking of interactive classes, why we talk of the students only? Why can't we consider a teacher is also getting a chance to de-stress himself or herself, or to be in the lighter mode?
Thank you. Thank you so very much, ma'am.
Ms. Meenu, this also happens to be the award-winning question. And this, whichever is the award-winning question, that question is addressed to each panelist. So let us hear what Ms. Vishnu Priya has to say about this question. What is your take on this?
It
Please
is an
unmute
interesting
yourself.
question. Yes, hello. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So I think the questioner herself has the answer, because I did not think of this, but when she mentioned clubs, I think that would be a fantastic opportunity for the teachers, where they can, because it is not that a math teacher is just interested in math, she is interested in 100 other things, but she gets bored over a period of time just involving herself with problems, mathematics, and just this and that, question papers, answers. So it will de-stress her, de-stress herself. She can de-stress herself if she probably gets involved in a music club. She might not be a proficient singer, but definitely singing would lighten her up. So I think that is something, nothing new crosses my mind now, but I think I can take the answer from the questioner herself, and that would be an excellent idea, is what I think.
Excellent. And Ms. Sunita, what would you like to say, comment on this?
Yes, even I am in favor of the clubs. And I have experienced that again, that different clubs, just not for music and singing, it could be dramatics, it could be craft, it could be reading club, which is very much needed these days, and related with photography, games. So I'm sure every teacher, other than that subject speciality, there is some other God's gift there for every person. So that can be utilized. Otherwise, I think those talents are just going waste, and it will come handy for the students as well as for the school. And we get to know when we actually require for a certain upcoming program, which may be a certain requirement, we can depend upon our own staff instead of asking any outsourcing the things. We can have those guidelines and all that coming up from these teachers themselves for the students. They can guide them out into that field. There are Nukkar Nataks, like recently we have had during this election time and all. So Nukkar Natak is needed. Then for this cleanliness campaigning, girl child campaigning. So small ways are there in which the art teacher becomes suddenly very helpful for the art integration and other subjects that is a part in the CBSE curriculum. So art has to be mixed up with every subject. So all the teachers may not be very good at it. So it becomes very helpful. Or suddenly we get to know that artistic side of that maybe social science teacher, that she comes up with such brilliant ideas that nobody else had thought about it. Maps with certain kind of artistic skills, not just coloring them up or shading them up. In social science, I had always thought in that way. But the idea came up that we could do some kind of art also into the maps, that one state could be shown with one kind of art, another one with another one. So suddenly, when all of a sudden from some unexpectedly it comes up from any teacher. So these kind of clubs help out a lot to discover the talents of the teachers also. And we can utilize that for so many other purposes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that was our winning question by Ms. Meenu Kaur. Ms. Meenu, we request you to send us a personalized message with your name, address, email ID, so that we can send in your surprise award. Thank you so much. Now, we all have heard that teaching is one profession that creates all other professions. Perhaps, like me, you've seen this quote on mugs, posters, everywhere. But if you really stop to think about it, it showcases just how selfless teachers are and how vast and important this profession is. With that can come a heavy burden on them because they have a lot of responsibility to shape and mentor the future of the nation. So, as I said, wear your oxygen mask first. Self-care and your physical, mental, and emotional well-being is the priority if you want to make a robust 21st century nation with robust citizens. And we come to an end. Before that, we would like to share a small video with you. Please stay tuned. I would like to again announce that on 26th February, we are hosting a mega webinar on the 21st Century Careers, a new approach in association with Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. Please join us for an insight into what are the newer careers and what is the roadmap to reach onto them. Thank you so much. And from bottom of my heart, I thank all our esteemed panelists to sparing that time and joining the show. Thank you so much, our audience. Please keep watching our Futuristic Education web series. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
I
you all.
really enjoyed
Thank
it
you.
out. It was our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.